strategist for President Bill Clinton, along with Matt Schlapp, former political director for President George W. Bush, and, of course, Austin Goolsbee, the economist, who was just, as we were going to this discussion, talking about that wall. Finish your thought, Austin.
Well, I think it's crazy. Look, on net, immigration is good for the country. And I think we should identify people to become citizens who want to become American.
Even illegal immigration, Austin? You say on net immigration is good.
I think we should make more legal immigration. People who are coming illegally to the United States, a great many of those people, I believe in the millions, would like to become American, would like to pledge allegiance to the flag and be American, and would be a net contributors to the country. So you're all for legal immigration. So, Hank, what's wrong with the wall then? And saying we're not going to have illegal immigration.
If the Republicans win the nomination, win the presidency, one of the things they don't want to do, the research on this is pretty clear. Latino voters, so-called, or whatever you want to call them, from different cultures and countries, tend to turn out when they are attacked or have a specific reason to turn out. And you want to energize that vote, they're going to vote Democrat. So keep it up and see what happens.
So that's an important point, because this is something, you know, you look at the success Trump has had, Matt, and it really has been pretty impressive. A meteoric rise. The latest poll shows him at 24%, ahead of every other Republican candidate. How upset do you think the establishment is right now that Trump is gaining so much attention and so much support?
They're definitely worried. I mean, Trump is outside the clique of Republicans in this town, the operatives that tend to run campaigns. He's an outsider. He's taken on Washington. He's taken on the Republican Party when he feels like he needs to. And he is really connecting to Americans out there that are probably less partisan and looking at Washington and saying, this is broken. And by the way, those same people are looking at our immigration system and saying it is completely broken. It's not just about a border. It's about that 40% of our problem are people overstaying their visas. These are people who fly into this country. Our immigration system is broken in almost every way.
See, I think that everybody, both sides of the aisle, can agree on that. I mean, I think to Austin's point, if you believe immigration is good for this country, and let's not forget, our country was founded on the premise that all these different people from different places and different backgrounds were coming here for an economic opportunity. So if that's good for our country, we might provide a way for more people to come in, but not illegally. You know, Senator Ted Cruz, he spoke with Neil Cavuto earlier, just moments ago, actually, and Neil asked Senator Cruz whether or not he would continue standing by Donald Trump. Here's what he had to say.
Many of the other Republican candidates have used this opportunity to take a stick and smack Donald Trump. I ain't going to do it. Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment. I'm not going to attack him personally or impugn his character.
Matt, does that earn him more street cred with some part of the voting population, Ted Cruz, that is?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's just smart. Donald Trump doesn't have a quarter of those surveyed in these polls. It's not just name ID. He's connecting with them on his take on Washington message. And Ted Cruz has a similar message, by the way. Ted Cruz has only been in the Senate a very short time. He's also running against Washington. By the way, Bernie Sanders is running against Washington, and so is Elizabeth Warren. This is a dynamic that's happening on both sides of the aisle. And politicians that try to fight that dynamic, they're just simply fighting the American people. That's where the American people are.
You know, and Hank, I think this is going to be the problem for Hillary Clinton, because she sort of embodies that Washington thing that a lot of people don't like.
Well, it's more than that. It's not just the Washington thing. You listen to the rhetoric on both sides of the aisle. It is center-right populism, center-left populism. People in revolt against Washington state capitals, authority at large. The electorate is very frightened by what the future brings. And the problem with the Clinton argument and potentially the Jeb Bush argument is that they are representative of an establishment that Donald Trump is breaking apart.
Yeah, you know, Austin, a lot of people want to dismiss him. Frankly, a lot of people in the media want to dismiss Donald Trump and say, you know, he's a bit crazy and we can laugh at what he does and what he says. But, you know, I've talked to a lot of people that have done business with him, and they say, you know, he's actually a pretty smart guy, and he's done some really good deals, and he's been a good person to work opposite the table with. So are people making a mistake by sort of shrugging him off and saying, you know, he sounds like a lunatic?
I'm not sure that they are making a mistake. I mean, I've never met him personally, so I can't be a judge. He may be an excellent businessman. He certainly says that he is an excellent businessman. He kind of suffers from which is the opposite of paranoia, where you think everyone's out to get you. You saw him at the border. He thinks that they're inviting him there to honor him when it's his own event. I think the issue is, for sure, Donald Trump is appealing with an anti-Washington message, kind of just a protest. If you don't like the Republican establishment, if you don't like Washington, if you don't like anything, vote for me. That part,
it's not just anti-Washington. It's not just anti-Washington. It's anti-establishment.
That's why I say,
yeah,
and anti-establishment. But the part that makes me a little fearful is that he then kind of splices it onto this cockamamie, wacko policy ideas like we're going to build a 1,600-mile wall with one of our allies. We're going to force them to pay the bill. I'm going to stick it in the Chinese face.
Be careful.
Once you get into that, once you get into that, I fear that there's going to be a lot of...
Well, hold on,
really
you guys.
Quick,
hold on. This is the law of the land. The idea of buttressing our southern border has passed the Congress any number of times, and the Obama administration is not following through on that directive. And this is not a controversial thing with the American people. Look, I'll give you the fact we ought to have an adult conversation about immigration, but don't act like Donald Trump is the one coming up with the idea of securing our border.
All right, we're going to be back with more from Donald Trump. He's going to be speaking there on the border. Thank you so much, Hank, Matt, and Austin. All right, we're back with more of the Intelligence Report and more Donald Trump.